Unavailable. Unknown.
Okay. Today is September 27th, 2018. I am not sure if I'm going to do 2 vlogs today or just one. I am also not sure if I'm going to make this one unlisted or public, or private. I mean, I don't know the difference. Like, I know unlisted is like the only people that can see it is like people you give the link to. But maybe if I make it public, someone will see it that like can relate to what's going on with me, and that could be good. Or someone could see it that like would hate what's going on with me, or say that I'm like a complete crazy, weird, horrible person for this, and could say I'm horrible. So I don't know. Anyway, so this has to do with something that I haven't really talked about at all, like on here, except maybe briefly. And so, big content warning, has to do with spiritual, psychic things that a lot of people don't understand. Energetic and some of it not good. Pause. 20. Okay. I hope that has given you enough time to pause your video. I don't know what like I said, it's like a camera thing that people can like pause it or something. I don't know what people do on their vlogs. Like I can't do all the editing and whatever because I'm blind, and well, maybe I could, but I just don't have the energy. And so, but I want to make sure people are safe listening to this, because it might not be something that you can handle, like that's going to hurt you thinking about it, or scare you, or make you angry or something. So let me drink some water. Probably haven't had enough water today. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I'll just jump right in with something that my friends who work with this and love it have said to me. So I met my friend Bety, I think I told you guys, at this place called the Aquarius Sanctuary, which was in Littleton, like a couple towns over from me. And they had a psychic fair at my college that I went to. And I went to it, and like it wasn't her, it was someone else did like a tarot card reading, and I was like, I never heard of tarot cards. I thought it said tarot, and I was like, oh, but it's tarot. But I'd never heard of it, and it was just very interesting, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll look it up. And then I wanted to do like a reading for my birthday, and my mom was looking at all the things, and like she was wicked uncomfortable because I guess she had some reading and it was like really horrible and scared her to death. So, but she's like, oh, this woman Bety, she does animal readings, isn't that cute, and everything. So I'm like, okay. So we went to do the animal readings, and then she was gonna do like also a reading for me, like with the tarot, so because I wanted to talk more about it. I had tarot cards, and we put labels on them with like the different names, and I like pretended to read people's cards. It was really strange. It wasn't. I was just kind of playing around with it, I think. But anyways, the cards got sold, I think, or like thrown away. But we went to the reading, and I guess my parents came, and she ended up like doing readings for my parents and my grandma and my mom's friend Annie. And anyways, she was awesome. Like, she was just such a cool, down-to-earth person. Like, she told me all this stuff about my pets that like no one else would know, and like everything. And then we were talking about my family and like all this stuff that anyway, like I said, no one else would know, and like really got to the bottom of what was going on. And we had like the best talks ever, and she was so sweet. And so like ever since then I've known her, and we've been like talking back and forth. And she came and saw me when I was at college, I believe, and then I saw, so she has a teacher teaching partner type working person named Steve, who is a shaman. She's a shaman as well, and I guess he taught her. So he is like really super amazing on like being able to do all this energetic psychic stuff interacting with spirits and everything else. Like, so I met him, and he was very nice, and I did a reading with him. He was a very nice guy. But the thing that he said was, I have this second sight thing because I am blind, and so I don't have that sense, so I have this other sense. And I'm like, okay. What, I listened, and he said a bunch of other stuff about my life that ended up being true. Like, I just kind of kept note of it, and then I was like, oh, like, this stuff actually happened. Like, wow. But he was the sweetest guy, and he listened, and he really understood, I guess, some things that were going on with me, and he was just a nice guy, and like, just a very like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word, like, solid and like protective, and like, you're around him and like nothing bad would happen, which I wish I was around him now so that nothing bad would happen. And maybe so anyway, so I got to know them, and then like, over the years, and then they do these ghost hunting things. So like, some people believe in ghosts, and they do this like thing with different things to like show that there is a ghost actually there, and like, which is good, I guess. But then the other thing is what Bety and her team is like 6 people, including Steve, do is like talk to them, and like, it's like therapy for the ghosts, because they're stuck here and they're not where they're supposed to be in the spirit world. And so then they're doing all this stuff. Like, I think I did explain in my video. Yeah, I did. I explained about the ghost. Okay, I explained about the ghost and how Bety and Steve do that, and how Bety and I were talking about that. Yes. So I did explain about the ghosts, and so I've had to do all this different stuff to deal with this ghost. Like, I started to I was hearing their voices for a long time, since December, but I wasn't admitting to myself or anyone else how much I heard their voices. And I was just like, I don't hear anything. Like, when they take over, I have no idea. And I still, like, most of the time, probably almost all the time, when they did take over, I still don't have any idea what they did, but I do still hear their voices. Like, it's more than I let myself believe. And once I admitted it, like, and talked to her about it, I really would hear their voices very clearly and could actually talk back and forth to them. And I initiated a couple of conversations to try to help them leave, because I thought, here are these people, like, there's even this 5-year-old little girl that's, she's definitely a character, and mischievous and whatever, but I don't believe that she was really mean. I think she was confused. And so I was just trying to talk to her and everything, but then there's this whole bunch of them that are with her, and so one of them that was like an adult, like, screamed in my head and called me names. And so, like, I was like, okay, I am not talking to ghosts, like, ever. I'm not talking to these ghosts ever again. Like, this is just not. I agree. Okay, I'm not going to talk to them. That gives them energy. They will feed off it. I'm not going to talk to them. Okay, great. Then I was like, I don't know what the other thing was. Oh, I was like, well, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to pay attention to what they say, but I'll listen to them and I'll try to help them. And Betty's like, no, that's like the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not. So then, like, it took like a day for me to realize that was the same thing, and she was right. And so then I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to help them. I'm just going to keep ignoring them, even though it's really hard. I'm going to keep doing it. So I've kept doing it. Whatever. Then yesterday I was taking my nap, I think, or laying down or doing something, and I saw in my head, and I would see stuff in my head. My mind is very open and alive and like a big canvas, I guess, and you can just put, or page or something, and you say stuff, or you do stuff, and it just sticks, and it's so weird, and it turns into like pictures, like a movie, or like a scene or something, like in a book, or I don't know, but it's that open that things just stick and do things. But anyways, so when I was taking a nap, it's really hard to say, but when I was taking a nap, I saw the ghosts in my mind, all like 4 or 6 of them, and they were surrounding Bety, and they had this really horrible cloud of like black mist, and they threw it at her. And so I have actually been using the Tamara Pierce books, because they talk about kids that are first experiencing magic. and it's in a universe where magic is very valued. So they're not like, oh no, I don't want to experience it. They've actually been shunned their whole lives for not experiencing it. But the way they experience it is different from most people. So I actually have been like using their sort of ideas of things to help me understand what's going on with me and sort of visualize different stuff. So they, in their own ways, have been able, each one of them can do something with light, basically. You know, Sandry could weave light, Triss could use lightning, Daja could use fire, and Briar could use plants. He probably used like the sunlight. Anyways, so they would throw light at stuff. And earlier that day when I had this feeling like they were gonna come after Bety before I even had my nap. And so I like threw her like a rope of as strong as I can make it, you know, light, so that she could like tie it around her and not get like attacked or like pushed out of her body, which is what it feels like to me when I do feel it happen. Like I'm just like pulled away from my body and gone, and then they take over. So I didn't want that to do that to her. And I was like, okay, great. And so then like, and I felt so much better. I'm like, yay, I sent this light, like I could feel it, like it worked. And I was like, great, okay, good, yay. So then I took my nap and I could see them, like I said, and they were just after her, and they have really sharp teeth and claws, and like I said, the mist, and I felt like they were throwing the mist at her so she couldn't see them, and then they would just like attack her and like pounce on her and stuff. But it's not happening, it's not real, because what did we find out? It's a trick. It's something they put in my head because they knew I would react to it like this. And so, yeah, the second thing was, and this is even worse, but I want to tell people so they can know what's going on and maybe they can help me. I had a second vision of her face just being burned, you know, just completely like melted, and just fire all around her and her being burnt up. And that I was watching and I couldn't do anything, and that it was from them. And that's the worst one, because she means so much to me. And I would never want her to be hurt because of anything that's around me or because anything that I did. And I just saw her being killed, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it hurt so much. And so ever since then, I've felt so responsible for keeping her safe. And I think I still do. I do. I feel so responsible for keeping her safe because I don't want these things to hurt her like they're hurting me. And I almost don't even care about myself. I mean, of course I don't. These things are, you know, they're not going to kill me. Like, they've put me through so much, and whatever they put me through, I obviously can handle it, but I can't watch them hurt her or anyone in my life. And that's the thing that bothers me the most, you know, is that I saw that so clearly of her being burnt up, and I've never seen something like that before in my mind, unless it was a memory of something that happened to me. And of course nothing like that has ever happened to me or anyone that I know, so it's not like I was basing it off anything. And it was the most horrible thing in the world, and I can't get it out of my head. And you know, because she means so much to me. And then I was like, and so then we were talking, and she's like, I'm okay, I'm not being burned alive, I'm okay. Like, I have my Wonder Woman outfit on, because she is, you know, she works with these ghosts all the time. And I'm like, so how come they don't take you over? And she's like, because they're not trying, like, I'm not vulnerable to them, and you are, because you have this anxiety and fear, and they're like, you know, they're just attaching, you know, and like eating it up. She's like, it's like candy to them, and they're just like, yum, like, you know. And so, you know, we're talking about it, because that was back when I was like, I want to help him, come on, you can help him. And you know, since I can sense them, why don't I help them? Because I just want to help everyone. Like, I want people to be okay, and I want to be like a helpful, good person in someone's life. I don't want to hurt anybody, you know. So we were talking about that, and then but no, she deals with ghosts all the time, so I can rationally be like, okay, like, she deals with ghosts all the time. But at the same time, I'm like, no, these are my ghosts. Like, these are the ghosts that have been around me and that we've been talking about and, like, trying to get rid of. And they know who she is because they have told me, and she even spoke to them once. But I think regardless, they have taken over when they have read everything we've written, and they have, like I said, they know it's her. They know her name. They know it's her. So they really have it out for her. And I think that's different than just seeing any old ghost. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to think, like, oh, I'm a lion tamer. I'm a lion tamer and I tame lions and it's no big deal. Versus this lion is after me, and I think that's a different thing. I believe that they could, overcome all of her abilities to tame ghosts, and not have it, and then they could just crush her like they are, like they want to, and I could just see it. I mean, this isn't a new picture, but I mean, the burning up thing really bothered me. So, so I can clearly sense these ghosts, and then I said the burning up, the her face burning up, and the mist, and those things. What is that? And she's like, oh, it's a vision. I was like, okay, all right, it's a vision, and she said. So we're talking about it, and she's like, yep, they put that in your head. They knew how you'd react. They, everything else like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to be calm. But, like, obviously I'm still upset by it because I was, like, crying. But anyways, so then I'm like, great, okay, fine. I will, now I know. Don't talk to them, don't listen to them, and ignore any visions. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just have that vision, and, like, that's it. I'm not going to have any more. And then this morning... Oh, no. And then last night, we were talking, and I was saying, what if the ghosts are hurting Jess? What if that's why she's not doing well? What if the ghosts are hurting, what if they killed our cat? The cat that we had for foster care. What if they hurt her and, like, weakened her? And what if they're going to hurt my parents? And, like, what if everyone that I talk to is going to get attacked, by these? And she's like, you're going to drive yourself crazy going over this. She says, I'm gonna send you this Archangel Michael. And of course, I was never a spiritual person. I was not religious. I mean, my parents did baptize me and I had like CCD, but I forget about it all. Like, I don't even remember. So I'm like, okay, Archangel Michael. Okay, I got it. She's like, I'm gonna send you this Michael angel and you can talk to him and he's helped me. I'm like, okay, great. So I took a bath and I calmed down, and because it took me a while to calm down, but I calmed down and I was okay. And then, and then I was just laying in bed, chillaxing. And I got this sense of a huge, tall figure. Like, I know what an angel feels like. I know the shape of one because I felt like Christmas ornaments and statues and stuff. So I know it's like a person, with the little crown on it and the big wings. But this was just this giant, tall, huge thing with huge, wide wings that just towered over everything. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she sent me a dragon or something. I mean, it is like the descriptions of the dragons in the Tamara Pierce books, like exactly. I'm like, she sent me a dragon. Oh no. And it's not Kitten. Kitten is like the baby dragon that like fits in a backpack. Okay. And he had this really long metal blade thing, attached to him. And I was like, okay, now what? And then it was just there. The image was just there in my head, and then it went away. I was half joking, but maybe it's true that after she sent me the Michael thing and I calmed down a little bit, that's when I talked to my mom. And she's like, oh, you'll be so happy. I talked to Megan, the therapist, and she's awesome, and she can't wait to help you, and we're only gonna, she can do like $20 a session, and I admire her so much. She's going to school for counseling, and she's obviously good at it. For my mom to love a therapist like that is kind of rare. So she's like, I can't wait to keep talking to her about your, everything. So I was like, okay. So that is all straightened out, and I'm gonna be able to go on, hopefully every Saturday and whatever. So that is a huge thing, because she does all this type of therapy. And so I'm really happy about that, obviously. Because Because there is just trauma stuff going on in my body and brain that I think is just purely a trauma response on the most down-to-earth, mental health, emotional health, physical, level of, okay, we can all understand. You can just read about it off the internet that this is what's going on with me. And they need to see my body and help me, get out of it or do something. They need to actually be there in person, I believe. And so do a lot of therapists. That's why they don't do a lot of trauma therapy, over the web. Anyways, so, I need to have water again. So, I was kind of joking, but it could be true. I was like, hey, yeah, Michael helped me with the therapy and everything. But then when I saw the image of him, I'm like, what is this thing? Okay, this scares me. I know it's supposed to be a good thing, but it scares me. Because he's huge, bigger than I could ever be. And with these huge wings and with this blade. And I'm like, what the heck is this blade? And then whatever, I went to bed, nothing happened, nothing. And then this morning I kept thinking about that blade and him and the blade and the blade. And then I kept hearing the word sword. Okay, I'm hearing words being put in my head now. That only happened, it happened with the ghost. Yeah, they would be talking and they would instead of me hearing their voices, they would put their thoughts in my thoughts. And I think that's how my speech got all screwed up. And my listening ability got all screwed up because that was happening. But I never had a word just pop into my head and stay there and be related to the thing. And I'm like, oh, what is this stupid sword? And then I wrote to Bety and I'm like, okay, I think I sensed this thing and it's really, and she didn't say it was really tall. I said it was really tall. She said the thing about the huge wings, but I said it's really tall. And I said, and there's this blade, metal and, really sharp blade. And I keep hearing the word sword, but it must be going crazy. And she's like, oh, no, he is always pictured with a sword. I'm like, okay, then. I'm like, so why in the world is this going on? And then she's like, why is he intimidating to you? He's trying to help you. I'm like, well, if you've never seen a bear or a hawk or a lion and you're like, what is that? And people just, and that's kind of what it felt like, it was like, what is that thing? I'm all alone with it in my head and it's bigger than me and stronger than me and it has a weapon. That just isn't good. I have enough pictures in my head of, back in December when this would happen, I would get pictures of my head based on what was said. So, in Chicago, for people that are in Chicago, probably other cities, but definitely Chicago, there are huge mass shootings every weekend. It's terrible. But they would say, I would just be eating breakfast in the day room at Albany, and they'd be saying on the news, this man was arrested, 24-year-old man was arrested, and he attacked, 6 people, and, one of it was a child, and one of it was a husband and wife, and he had the gun, and then he ran down this street and that street, and they chased him, and they did this and that and everything else. It's like I could see that in my head. I could see the guy with the gun, even though I've never seen a guy or I've never seen a gun. I just could, I don't know. It just was all there in my mind. I could see the guy in the gun, and I could know that he shot these people, and I could know these people were, wounded or dead, but I couldn't, no one was doing anything, and I was on the outside just watching this and just helpless. And I'm like, okay, I cannot hear any stories about guns, crime, anything, because that is going to just imprint itself on my brain for whatever reason. So I can't and then of course I had the vision of her burning up. So I'm like, I can't have any weapons, fire, unless it's the magic fire that the Tamora Pierce people use, and I will use that in my fantasy thing. But see, the fantasy thing is something that I control. I can set up that picture, I can take it down. I can't always control whether the traps or spells that I was using to fight the ghost were working, so I had to keep checking on them. But it's something that I know I thought up, and I created it, and it was real because I made it real. My mind has this big capacity for imagining things, and they become real in my head. But this stuff was just uninvited chaos, and just from another world, you're sensing through another sense, I guess. And I'm just what? It's probably people that, if I never saw, people always ask me, do you want to see And I'm like, no, because it would be the most overwhelming sensory experience of my life, and I'd probably still walk around with my eyes closed, or, glasses or whatever, because I couldn't stand all that information coming in. It's probably like people that are deaf and they hear for the first time. It's horribly intense, even if they want it. And I don't want this. I never would have expected it, because I am the least spiritual person that I believe that there's, ever since I met Bety and them, I believe there is something out there, obviously, and that so many people tap into it. So many people describe the same experiences, that it has to be the same type of thing that they're connecting to. And I get that, and that's great. If they're using it for good, they're using it for good, and that's great. If they're using it for bad, I hope that there's enough good people that can undo the bad things they do with it, but it's a world I never thought I would experience, and it's not something I ever wanted. And with the state my brain is in, it's not something I feel like I can cope with. I want it to just be turned off. I want it to just be gone, or on a much lower level, or I want it to be healthy. I want it to be positive. I want to feel like I'm in control of it, like with the Tomorrow Fears thing. Like I can just imagine something and use it for good, and if it gets scary, I can stop it, and then that's it. It just, I can use it under my own control, or at least mostly under my control. And I know that it's not going to hurt me. I know that I'm fine with it. I'm happy. It's just something that I can do that maybe other people can't do, and it's fine. It's like any kind of skill or talent or whatever, and I can't handle this whole thing like hitting me at once, and especially horrible things that are to do with my friends or family or whatever. And like, Bety feels like family to me, like she feels like my mom. And like, I'm sorry, I can't get off this subject of the burning up thing. Like, I just can't get off the subject of it, and like in my head. And I know she says that it's not true, but it feels so true. And it feels like I have to get away from her so that she doesn't get hurt. And it just keeps coming back. Even if I don't want it to. It's just stuck in my head. It's like a nightmare. So, and I can send light and more light, and it doesn't work. Or water, obviously, to stop a burn or to stop a fire. And, it just doesn't work. Oh, and then I had a vision of my own face, not burned, but just cut, and with a scar on the left side of my face, all down the left side of my face. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, my face is fine. But it took a while. It took like 15 minutes for me to realize my face was okay. It's like someone from this other world is like throwing these, I don't know, like something opened a door and all this stuff is coming in. And I can't handle it. And I already have to deal with, your down to earth, regular old panic attacks, trauma, response type things that I understand that. And I understand there's therapies to deal with it, and we'll work with it, and it'll be fine. But this stuff is just like completely from another world, and Bety and I were talking about it, and she's like, yeah, I think you're psychic. And I was like, okay. So I need to like go find some newly psychic people to talk to about how in the world they deal with this, because I can't, I can try to ignore it. Like, she's like, just take them in your stride. I'm like, how can I take them in my stride? Especially the one about you, I try so hard. I try so hard to do everything everyone tells me to do. And I just can't a lot of the time. And then I keep saying I'm sorry that I keep screwing this up. I am so sorry. Because, here they're taking the time to write me and work with me and, help me, and I just can't understand half of it. Or things hit me in a new way, in a slightly different way, and I have to go back and, like, be like, okay, yeah, this applies. Like, with the visions, like, okay, that scared me so much, but it took me, like, an hour of talking to her and, like, thinking about it to figure out that it was the ghost. Okay, it was the ghost. Yes, okay. It's the same thing. Don't listen to them, and don't believe the vision. But it took so long, you know? And like, I don't know. I just feel like people are just so frustrated, like, why isn't she getting it, you know? And Bety said, like, that she's sad that I don't want to experience these things because so many people do want these things in their lives. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I mean, if I could give my experience of this to someone else that could handle it or wants it, I would. Absolutely. I would. Because it hurts so much otherwise. And it just hurts so much. And I don't know what else to say except that, you know, I'm experiencing these things that other people don't experience. And they're on a different level from the whole mental health stuff. And I know everything's connected, but it's a totally different thing. And so I need help. Oh no, there's a code. That's okay. That's somebody having a crisis and they all have to run. They all have to run and get them. But anyways, yeah, I just need help. I need help understanding this. I think I need help while it's happening. Someone telling me that I'm not crazy and that I'm not making it up and I'm not being dramatic. You know, and just helping me. I mean, I don't know, just talking to me and being there, you know, for me, but knowing themselves, you know, having had these experiences, so you know what I've experienced. I don't have to sit and try to explain it for hours and you still don't understand. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up so people can see it. Alright, thank you everybody.
Document. My movie move. Welcome. Stop.